So look, I have the pleasure of introducing two incredible people that we have met at the Emmys event, that have been at the Oscars event, and these incredible people are making things happen. We had two shows with Ocean in yesterday talking to Charlie, 10-year-old incredible fashion designer. We had a show yesterday with Christina Marie, 12-year-old hitting the stage, making things happen. People are making dreams happen at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 20s years old. And at a time where truly the world is open for ideas, not only from a creative standpoint, from understudying has come back into the world. Really, mentorship has really come back in the world. Remember when people used to mentor people in their craft? Right? This is beyond family business. These two are actually doing business in family, but it's not one person learning someone else's way and continuing that way. It's family working together and letting people shine in what is how they shine. I think it's incredible. So let me professionally introduce these two incredible people. So Skylar Sorkin, LA-based speaker, host of the Regardless Post, where she candidly guides 20-somethings live through chaos, known for her bold voice and brand strategy work. Oh my gosh, with HBO and JJ, she blends real talk with results. And then we have Ocean Baker, founder of Natsukashi Inc., a couture fashion and streetwear and art company. He is the artist of The 12, Modified by Inc., which is a reality TV show coming out of LA, Vancouver-based and community-minded, rocking his first runway tomorrow night at the Biltmore, the iconic Biltmore in Vancouver, Canada. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We look forward to continuing to see you as we bounce back and forth to LA and Vancouver. We just got to get you up here into the beautiful BC. We'll throw an event that you just can't say no to that fits your schedule.
I know I'm like dying to go. I've never been to Canada, which is crazy because my grandmother is from Canada. So need to get my booty up there.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit and share some things with some people today. First of all, Skylar, why don't we start with you? I've done an introduction, but you can tell us a little bit more, like, what is your business and what is the mission behind what you do?
hmm Yeah, so Regardless is a podcast. It's a community, it's events, it's really a safe space for women to come to feel like they can be real in today's age. I'm 27 years old, and there is so much noise out there that I'm sure all of you women and Ocean can relate to as it relates to keeping up with content, with trends, with beauty standards. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm exhausted and I don't think it's sustainable. So, Regardless is a multi-generational podcast, platform, course, and community for women who are done keeping up. And regardless, it's about really coming back home to ourselves. So, the business is through multi-generational conversations with my mom, who is literally my best friend. She is 58 years old, and she's also a licensed therapist. So, we have real talk around a lot of the things that us as women experience, regardless of age, whether it's being 27 years old or 58, and really providing that support, that real talk, that expertise for women to feel like they aren't alone. And we also have our community events. So bringing the most real brands, real experts, and real women together to help them in navigating some of the hottest and hardest subjects that we are experiencing in real time. So this is so much more than just a podcast and a community, but it's really a rebellion because I think it's important for us to be questioning and challenging the status quo versus just following along with trends because it's trending. Regardless is all about being real.
Well, I think you're on the right show. Stand up, speak up, and show up. She's like, we're challenging, and it's beautiful, right? Because when we challenge ourselves as well. Like, what
Yeah.
are we thinking? What's important to us? How do we want to live our lives? What does authenticity mean to us? It's very different. That's a variety word. Really, it is a variety word. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for sharing. And Ocean, what about yourself? What's your company? What are you doing? What's your mission?
Yeah, my name is Ocean, and my company is Natsukashi Inc.
and I'm a streetwear designer and artist as well. So I kind of put my two passions of my passion for art and streetwear and kind of fuse them together to make some pretty unique and high quality pieces for everyone to enjoy. And I even do custom art as well. So I've done some book covers, covers for just like murals that people want, custom pieces like pants, and I've done before, and showcasing. This is one of my new custom jackets today. We're going to be showcasing at the Biltmore, but I got more to come, and that's what we're showing there. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Well, it's so funny. Thank you so much for sharing. Susan, who was our opening speaker, so that Ocean did her book covers, both her book covers, one for communication, one for workbook. And then ironically, Bianca was on today. And Leslie's like, show us this bravery journal you keep talking about. And she's like, oh yeah, Ocean drew it. And so I was like, it was like Ocean's collaboration this morning. And congratulations on everything for yourself as well. So look, you both are in your 20s. Ocean's 21, you're 27. And how do other people your age respond to you being an entrepreneur or making that decision to make your own way? Skylar, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people think it's pretty epic. I think we're living in a world, especially for Gen Zers like ourselves, Ocean, where I think people are realizing, do I really want to be in corporate? I think a lot of that came post-COVID. So, I mean, I think a lot of my community, they look up to it, they're inspired. I've also had experiences in the past where people didn't jive with it, like ex-boyfriends. So I think it really depends on like who you're asking. I think it all comes down to your community, and I think the people that are supposed to be in your world are for you. So I would say, I mean, Ocean, I'm not sure what your experience has been, but the people who love me love it for me, because I'm in my purpose and I get to do that day in, day out. So yeah, I think people are inspired.
Very cool. And Ocean, what about yourself? What's it been like for people your age to what's their response been like?
Yeah, I'd say kind of like Skylar, really. It's pretty cool. Like people really seem to be happy for me and happy the journey that they see along the way. Like when I used to work at the gym, I'd tell people and I'd bring my cards in and even hand them like a sticker or something, and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And they would hear like everything I would be doing, like, "Oh, what are you gonna do next week?" And "Oh, I have this. Oh, that's cool. What are you gonna do the following week? Oh, I got this." Like people seem to really jive with it. They really seem to be happy for me. I haven't heard any like too much like negative really towards it. But yeah, no, I think people really like just surprised that like I'm doing something like this at this age and um going in the right direction. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty good overall.
Pretty good overall. How do you feel? So Ocean, I'll start with you and then I'll bounce back to you, Skylar. So Ocean, I know that you do a lot of trade events. So you're kind of out in these public forums of categories. You're not in a trade event of 20-year-old entrepreneurs. You've done the tattoo show, Japanese show. You're there with people that are double plus your age that are in the same sector. What's it like when they walk into your booth or you're having conversations in the hallway?
Yeah, no, they're pretty like surprised, like considering my age. They usually go like, "Oh, you're still like a kid," kind of thing. Um, but they're always like surprised and like quite happy, and they really like the clothing and like the quality we put out, and they really like the designs and really like overall like what the company has. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like people are pretty hyped about it. They're pretty excited. They're like, "Oh, let me look at this," and sometimes they follow the Instagram page and sometimes they'll like post on their story about like, "Oh, this is cool, like 21-year-old," and they'll like take a little video of the stuff. So that was pretty cool actually.
Thank you. And Skylar, what about yourself? So, being a podcast host, and there's, many people that do podcasts, and by nature, they might be, have a few years on you or what have you. What's it been like in rooms of your peers doing what you do?
Yeah, it's been interesting because, when I first started the podcast, it was originally targeted just towards 20 somethings, and it's been super beautiful to see the expansion of that age. So we are a multi-generational podcast, and I think it's been super cool to have my mom as a guest host because I think our dynamic and her experience has actually created more space for women of all ages, which I think is super beautiful because it allows space for me to evolve with, really speaking to a big audience, which is super dope. I think as it relates to my age, it's so funny. It's something that I don't really think about. I think it's because growing up, I always like would wanted to have a seat at the dinner table with my mom and her best friends. And my background, in addition to being an entrepreneur and building regardless, is in sales, is actually selling influencer marketing to Fortune 500. So I've been selling to men and women a lot older than me for the past 5 years. So age is something that I honestly don't have like a reaction to. I just really see the actual human and what's behind that. I think also because we're living in a world of content creation, I think it's more normal now to see 20 somethings who are entrepreneurs. Um, does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. It
Yeah,
absolutely does. I mean, all things doing, we probably won't even ask that question in 5 years. It won't,
yeah,
it'll be a very multi-generational experience,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And I think we saw that, and that was one of the things that when me and Ocean were doing when we do shows on the show, there's this great relationship of teaching multi-generational teaching, not just multi-generational wealth and multi-generational businesses but there's this multi-generational teaching of people that have been in their business and craft for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? And normally there's been this philosophy of you have to earn your wings and you get there and then you get these accolades, but there's so much new with the world of digital and the world of technology where pulling expertise pulling expertise. It's not really age related. Now there's something to be said for being in something for a long time because you've learned things. I mean, there's nothing, I don't think there's a replacement for wisdom, or tenacity or the stretch or what have you, but there is absolute respect for the relationship and the different generations and what they hold in terms of value of information. So look, you both work with your moms. Yay, moms. And this is a Women's International Women's Day Stand Up, Speak Up, and Show Up show. So thank you, Ocean, and thank you, Jerry, that I can just see on my first page here. This project is for women and those that support women. And so in my world, in my dream, that means everybody. So you both work with your moms in your business. And so, Skylar, for you, what is it like working with family? Like, is there different rules that you need to play when you're talking business to personal? Like, how do you play that? What's the interplay on that?
That's a great, great question. And this is something that I am navigating and learning in real time. It is interesting because, again, like it's not like my mom, I'm the founder, I'm the CEO. My mom does come in and she is, the guest host. So there are a lot of things that I still do individually. But again, like regardless would not be what it is without her expertise, without really her energy into helping me create it. And I think because it's so tied to my purpose and who I am and the word regardless and how I've navigated my life, a lot of the teachings, like you said, Deb, came from my mom, came from my dad. And I think, as it relates to teaching, for me at least, a lot of it wasn't just entrepreneurial. They're both entrepreneurs, but a lot of it for me was more of the emotional teachings. And my relationship with uncertainty, my relationship with the unknown, my relationship with myself. A lot of those teachings came from my mom and my dad. And so to be able to work with my mom as it relates to really building this, I mean, I would say like the top three things that have been very instrumental to us being successful thus far has absolutely been communication. Just, also respecting that my mom is also a therapist. Like she has her own career outside of regardless. So making sure like, hey mom, like when do you have time to like dive into the regardless world? I would also say just reminding each other of like our why. Things, stress is inevitable, fear is inevitable, but like reminding each other of like, okay, like this is so epic that this is our legacy and we get to build this together. And I know that, God forbid, I wasn't here tomorrow, like zero regrets. Getting to build this with my mom, who is my best friend, has been the greatest gift. So I would say, communication, honesty, and just really like the why. Those have been three very instrumental things to our success, in addition to authenticity, which is all about what regardless is just really being real. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And so this is a little bit of an interesting question because Ocean, what about you with your mom? What's it like working with family and yeah, working with your mom in your business?
Yeah,
Let's
it's
pretend
cool.
let's pretend I'm Leslie right now.
Yeah, it's cool. Like you learn a lot of new things and a lot of things that you might not know beforehand, and there's a lot of learning with different experiences and kind of seeing things differently, but coming together to kind of make one decision, which is pretty good. Like I might know something that you might not know, which is just good. And then sometimes you might know something that like I don't know. So it's kind of good that you like see that, so you could get like best of both worlds. Because sometimes like some things are very new to me, where I'm like I've never really done this before. But then you like have, and then so like what to say and then what to go to next. And then sometimes you have like you help me with the speaking part of it, of like when we're at like L'Occitane, like I'm like, what do I even like? How do I even start this? Like how do I even like approach them? And then you tell me like a little script to say. So those things are like kind of good working with somebody that you like really know well. So yeah, I think it's good.
I think it's good. Yeah. What else are we gonna say, Leslie, today? But there's so many things about the business, right? There's so many things about having a business, and I know that if you're like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. But there's things like marketing and finance and learning to speak and the accounting and all of the details. What's one of the biggest learnings, Skylar, that you had in your business that you know was not maybe a surprise to you, but something that you really like, wow, I really got to get it. I really got to learn more about this. This is a business tool that I didn't have before.
Mm. Um, I'm going to keep it very simple. I would say like setting up an LLC, getting like the foundation of everything. I think the most simple things that we just, don't really talk about, or what Ocean and I didn't learn from college. I'm not sure if you did. I went to an incredible school and we were not taught how to do our taxes, or like what's it like to set up an LLC, and how do you make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. Like I think a lot of like the foundational things that are very important that you have to have set up in order to be a successful entrepreneur, even if it's like, boring to talk about. So I would say that's very relevant for me right now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Ocean, what was one of the things that you had to get more experience with, or was something that was like, whoa, not my wheelhouse?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, I've said this before, but I think for sure, like the financial part, like I agree with Skylar for sure. Like I didn't really know those things. That's something I didn't know. And being on shows like this, like I didn't do that before, and it was like really uncomfortable for me to start like podcasts and stuff like that, to say like the right things. And maybe like socials too, like learning like what you know, like even learn times to post, to get the most activity. So those are things I've like quite learned. Those big three are things I've really had to like learn, and like speaking to people and showcasing my work in a way I wanted to be seen. So those are like the big three I would say was I had to learn.
Well, and I think everybody can nod their head to that because everyone's either a new entrepreneur, been doing it a while, builds a new division, learns new things. I believe that's the creative flow of being entrepreneurial is that you stretch yourself in new arenas. Once you kind of master something, then you decide you're going to go do this, or you're going to decide to add a program, and you're like, what's a funnel? You know what I mean? What's that all about? So, or you add a new division onto your business, right? What advice would you have for anyone that's thinking about doing business with a family member, whether it's a mom, a dad, an uncle, a brother, a sister, like doing business with family? Skylar, what would you say? What advice would you give somebody?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an absolute privilege in my opinion to be able to do that. Do I think everyone should do it? No. Um, but I do think that it takes like a commitment to setting up a pretty incredible communication system. I think like being very honest is everything. And I think kind of what I was sharing before, communication, being super real, being very respectful of the other person's time, and again, like reminding each other of the why on like a daily basis to make sure that like you're in alignment, because I think that changes for different parties daily. Like just like in a romantic relationship, you're not always going to be meeting 50-50. One day you're going to have 60 and they're only going to have 40. So I think it's all about meeting each other where you're at, and communication is everything if that is something that you are going to pursue.
Thank you so much. And Ocean, what about yourself? A piece of advice that you would give for someone who's looking to doing business with family?
Yeah, I think it's a good and bad thing maybe. Like if you have a strong connection beforehand, I think it's good, and it's always good to have like a second eye on things. And I think it's like a pretty good thing if you guys get along. Like if you kind of keep things separate, like work and like personal relationship. I think that's pretty key, and like communication's pretty key. I mean, sometimes that like we don't see eye to eye, which I know that for sure. Um, but at the end of the day, we kind of want the same goal. So we both want this company to be like super successful and see it blow off, and being that we could travel around the world and go to different places and showcase my work in like different places and seeing. I mean, it's definitely paying off because we're seeing people in Vancouver wearing my clothes now that I don't even know. So like on the SkyTrain or like on the street, like I saw some guy wearing like my hat, like so that's really cool. And like even on the island, people are purchasing, and you see that on the street, which is really cool. So I think we both want to have the same goal at the end of the day. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, what I hear there is about same goals. What I'm hearing there, you both talk about is letting people being individual, but as long as you have, you're looking to do the same thing, or you have the same message, and you have, I like what you said, Ocean, about if you had a relationship before. And I think that, sometimes when you go into business with somebody or you're working with somebody, those are the things that you have to have conversations with, right? Is how do you communicate? When you get upset, how does that look like? What are your expectations? And like you said, separating, hey, let's go to a movie tonight and not talk about business. You know what I mean? Let's have a conversation and let's go for dinner and talk about life and those type of things as well. So look, I'd love to ask you, I know we're going to kind of wrap up in a few minutes here, but the second to last question that I have for you is this summit's theme, as you know, the overarching theme is this incredible International Women's Day that is on March 8th. And the whole message is to really give a sense of empowerment and solidarity all around the globe. And both of you live this incredible international life. I mean, we met in LA doing Oscars and Emmys. I mean, you both have had this incredible experience, being able to talk to people from all different places all around the world that have had different lives, different stories, and everyone has a story. Whether you're standing at the Emmys or you're not standing at the Emmys, we've all been up against it. That's just the way it is, right? That's life, and that's life on life's terms. But when we say that this theme is people in symphony, like what does that mean to you? Like, what does that mean to you? I'm going to start with you, Skylar. So people in symphony, women in symphony, people coming together. What's that about for you?
Yeah, I think it's a deep understanding of or I would say it's having a shared vision. Um, Yeah, a shared vision and deep understanding of like how can I stay curious? How can I learn from you? How can I get outside of myself and help you get to where you want to get to be? Because in doing so, that's also allowing me to step into my full potential and purpose and only just and like kind of believing in this, karmic circle that like knowing if I am showing up and supporting especially the women around me that energy will return. And I think that motion is people, really orchestrating something larger than ourselves together. So I know that sounds kind of heady, but I think it's about how can I support you, and in doing so it's supporting me.
No, I love it. I love that karmic circle. I
Yeah.
mean, that's so beautiful. We're talking about, symphony. And Ocean, what about for you?
Yeah, I think it's collaboration work. Collaboration work is like I think pretty connected on another level. Like even like I've done a decent amount of collaborations now, so I think that's a good way to connect with people. Just like seeing what they do and seeing what I do, and sometimes it can become like a really cool thing, like the one we did with Steven. That was really cool, and people really liked that one, and people like the story behind it. So I think collaboration work is like can show that very clearly.
No, I believe that collaboration, and it is symphonic and it is coming together when you hear a symphony. And that was actually, uh, thanks for that reminder, Ocean. I mean, this was something really beautiful where two people that were talented in the same thing, right? It wasn't like two people like that had kind of, opposite skills. You got two people hyper talented in the same city, known for tattoo drawings. And they decided to come together and draw a yin and yang and not tell each other what they were drawing and go away and come back. And it was this amazing piece that got put back together. So instantly turned into a shirt and a poster and a sticker and what have you. And they took it to a show, completely sold out. Took it to another show, completely sold out. Took it to another show, completely sold out. And here's two people that would by nature be competitors. They were at the same shows, doing the same thing, same talent, same all of it. And when you see it, like the colors are and that was very symbolic for me, who's been, barking up the collaborative tree for a long time, because to see two people in high level, what most people would see as competition, like why would you do something with them? And you're promoting each other, and have it to be a massive sellout was really, I think, very symbolic of where we've come as people in business. So, Skylar, I'm just going to go back to you. If and Ocean, same for you. Like, maybe I know that you're both going to go into the chat. You're going to give us all your socials. We're going to support and downpour as being in this world of entrepreneurship, and supporting the next generation. But is there anything that you want to say in final words for us?
I'm just so honored to be here. Deb, you are incredible. This community of women is absolutely just so beautiful. And thank you for creating spaces like this for all of us to come together, because I think this is at the root of really massive healing and transition. I think, especially living in today's world, there's a lot of noise and it's only getting a little bit more intense. So, thank you. This is essential and very, very important to me, my legacy, my purpose, and really what being real means, which means like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, and it comes in community and collaboration. So I thank all of you.
And we know that we're going to see you soon. Hopefully, we'll be in LA at the same time. And please put all of your socials and information in. And Ocean, how about you? Any final words before you embark on your first fashion couture fashion runway tomorrow night?
Yeah, thank you for everyone for listening and being on here and seeing me through this journey. So yeah, appreciate you guys being here and listening to what I have to say.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to pass it over before we move things along. I'm going to pass it over to you, Leslie. Is there anything as my co-host you would like to say, you would like to add, you would like to share? What's going on, girlfriend?
Right? I just think it's a great addition to the summit. Um, this thread really, and Skylar said it so well, sort of bringing multiple generations together. And really, it is a thing of learning, because certainly the older generations, there's plenty that they can learn from younger generations, right? Sometimes we tend to think that there's not, but there's so much anymore because of social media, because of technology that really can be shared. And I think it's something important that we sometimes overlook, right? We ignore kind of the two extremes, and there's so much value in both of those areas.
Right on. Very, very, very cool. Well, we appreciate you both. And it's interesting, right? It's only a short period of time that we're starting to really see this live and multi-generational support of each other. So thank you so much, Skylar. Thank you so much, Ocean. Please put your websites, please put your events, upcoming events. And just like when we had the music panel, we said, what is it that we can do to support, to keep music alive? And people were talking about going to live music, buying the ticket, booking the band. And I think that there's something very special about supporting each other, whatever that looks like. Buying the hat, thank you, Carol, like supporting your show, following your show, doing a review. I believe that's part of the collaboration that we're talking about when we talk about symphony. It's like, oh, you did a book? Okay, let me go do a review. Those kind of things. It is, not only is it kind, but it's just a different way of thinking, right? It's just a different way of thinking, of being able to reach out on those things that make a difference in people being able to stay sustainable, if I, sound like a repeated record, but being able to keep people being seen in the right places with the right numbers. And, this is a part of business, particularly for this news generation. So thank you again, and congratulations on everything. We look forward to hearing more and seeing more, as always. You both, this will not be your first and only time on the Stand Up Speak Up show and on TV. Congratulations. You are on an episode of the Women's Channel. How cool is that? How cool is that? So thank you so much. Yay.